I'm not dealing with that. So I'd say yes, they look at the parents, unless it's something just completely out of line. I don't think the parent will mess it up for the kid. If the kid can play, they're going to take the kid. And the parent's not coming to the school. They're not going to deal. That's what a lot of parents don't understand. They're not going to deal with you once they get in college.
Being a parent, being a trainer, and having relatives that are intimately involved in sports. When a student athlete is developing and you can see the talent is there, but the mentality, their mindset is not quite where it needs to be. Is that something that a college coach is willing to work on?
Yeah, if you're super talented, they'll work with you. But depends on what they need. If you're too much of a headache to deal with, then no. But again, if you're super talented, it's hard to say no to super talent. It just depends on the level of talented you are. Not talented in your city, like everywhere you go, you're talented. Then they'll deal with it. There's a difference in local and just a monster or whatever you want to call it. They'll deal with it because they feel that they can uh, point you in the right direction. They're going to figure it out. Talent's hard to find. Super talent. It's hard to find. So they're going to have a place somewhere. Now, then it also depends on how off they are or how short of what was the words you used? They're a little what? The work ethic, or let's just say their work ethic. You can teach that. You can teach that. They're going to get better at the next level simply because they're going to make them go to practice every day. Even if you don't do the extra work, you're going to get better anyway.
What advice would you give parents when choosing the right basketball program? I see this in AAU quite a bit where, uh, well, let me take my daughter, for example. Our daughter did not grow up in an environment where there was a lot of profanity, a lot of screaming and yelling, a lot of instruction given, and you were expected to follow instruction. So she did not do well with a coach that just did a lot of yelling and screaming. It caused her to, I guess, for lack of a better expression, shut down, if you will. What advice would you give to parents on selecting a good AAU team to get that exposure and to continue to, keep playing?
Again, it depends on the age. Like eighth grade, see, there are times when you can develop where you might not play as much, but you're getting better with this team.
Mhm.
But that junior senior year, you got to be in the game because you're there to be seen. So I would say go where you're going to play. You might want to be on this team, and I say the same for college as well. Now with NIL, there's an asterisk here. If they give you 50, 75 to sit on the bench, and you're not going to go to the next level, I'll buy me a house when I get out. I'll have an investment property and a degree, and still maybe go overseas and play or something like that. But play, go where you're gonna play. I don't know many athletes that are happy not playing unless they get paid. And they're still I know ones that get paid and are still unhappy. They'll leave and go get another job, getting paid less, but they're playing.
Really? So
Yeah.
you're hearing that where they're still not happy even though they got a check?
Yes. Yes. There's kids that get drafted or play uh, in the NBA every day, that'll leave and go overseas. I mean, they'll get good money over there now, but they're playing. They love the game. They want to play. They want to compete. So it's all about what makes each person happy. You got to do what makes you happy. So I would pick, as far as the AAU team question, I'm going where I'm going to play. Again, I'm going where they want me. I let my child play for AAU teams that asked us to play for them instead of going and let us be on this team type of thing. You're at the level that you're at. So let's go master that level. Let's go compete at that level. and then we'll work our way up from there. That's
Say what? Let me let me ask you this about social media because we see it. Since you and I have known each other, social media has really changed. I think we've known each other for now, what, a decade? I remember we did the huddle highlights. We put everything on huddle and they could either watch the whole game or they could, watch the highlights that we put together. Social media has, I mean, you've got it in the palm of your hands. How have you seen that change the way coaches recruit and how the student athlete is viewed in the collegiate arena?
It can change your NIL, but it's not going to change the way you recruit it. You have to have film, and social media is an easy way for a coach to see you. If you make an incredible play, they're going to say, "Who's that?" That's what we're looking for. Who's that? But at the end of the day, they're going to look at game film. I don't. No coach is going to sign you based on a highlight tape, but you need the highlight tape because it does show you doing what you do well. And if it looks like what they might like, then they'll go ask your coach for your film, or they'll come see you play. So I'd say, yeah, you gotta have film. If it's huddle, if it's whatever it is on your phone, you need a collection of film. Because as they say, the film doesn't lie. You can't say I didn't make these 8 threes in this game. Here they are, or whatever it may be. Can't say I don't defend. Look how I defend.
What are the biggest adjustments that players tell you they had to make when transitioning from high school to college?
The level of competition, the workload, the time management, getting yelled at and having and not being able to say anything. You can say something if you want to. That person controls your minutes. So some of them do yell, and their minutes might get cut. Some of them are late. Minutes might get cut. And I think it's unfair to the kids sometimes because there's an 18-year-old kid expecting to behave like somebody working on Wall Street that's 44 years old and been working 20 years. Like, be early, be at this, be at that, give maximum effort. Don't get any trouble. Like, I'm 19. I just got out of the house. I have
I got
freedom.
freedom. We say at the
Freedom.
same time.
Nobody's telling me when to come home. And you're telling me, but it is what it is, as they say. And that's what they're looking for, maturity, unrealistic maturity. But I think coaches handle it pretty well for the most part. They know you're going to be late for some stuff, or well, they don't deal with that late stuff. It depends on the coach, but you can't just completely ditch class. Just the workload is what I hear the most and what I remember the most. Just mandatory breakfast. Like, it starts at 8 and it doesn't end until it's dark. Let's put it like
A
that.
job. It's a
Yeah.
job.
And it's
It's
a
a job.
hard job. It's not answering the phone or calling, typing anything. It's pushing you physically to exhaustion repeatedly throughout the day. You're going to get exhausted in that lift. You're going to get exhausted on that track. You're going to get exhausted at practice. Complete exhaustion now. And then you're going to have to do it again and again and again and again and again. So while maintaining a good attitude, the comfort,
GPA. A good
yeah, the
GPA.
comfort comes from your teammates, everybody. I don't want to disrespect veterans and people. It's nothing like the Army, but I can understand the camaraderie, like being in that foxhole together. That's who you lean on because they're the only ones who understand what you're going through.
What when you talk to your people that you've trained and they come back to you and they've been in college for a year or two and they come back to you and what do they tell you they wish they had focused on more during their time of training with you?
It depends on the player. If some of them say, "You were right. I should have transitioned to the wing." Um, some of them say, "I shouldn't have transitioned to the wing. I should have stayed in the post." Ask me again. What was it again? What do they say when they come back?
Yeah, when they've played a couple of years and now
Yeah.
they're coming back to you to kind of for the summer get, tweak
Oh,
on some
yep.
things and
I wish I was in better shape. Told you get on that track. Told you go outside. If you're, I tell them all the time, the better shape that you're in, right? The longer you're going to be able to do whatever it is you do well, and vice versa. So if you're a shooter and you're in okay shape, you're going to miss and think you can't shoot. That's not what it is. You can shoot the cover off the ball, but your legs are gone. You're tired. That that's probably the biggest thing.
Conditioning.
Your conditioning, and your strength. These kids are strong. Well, for these grown men and women now are strong. They hit that weight room hard. And they're, if you notice, they're letting a lot more physicality go the last couple of years. The playoffs looks like the 90s. The NBA, it looks
They're
like
hitting.
the 1990s.
Yeah, they're hitting each other.
Yeah, they're letting the hand checking go. They're letting it all go. So that weight room is going to be a lot more important than it's ever been. Because you're
I
tricking
think
somebody, you're creating space, and they just put their hand on you to slow you down, and they're not calling it anymore.
very true. Very true. I think the one thing that helped Jordan quite a bit was working out with Coach Kurtz at AC Flora. I mean,
Yes,
one of the
sir.
best trainer, one of the best conditioning coaches in the country, and now he's with Oak Hill,
Kill.
and
Happy for him.
and
Shout out to Micah.
yeah, and he really got on Jordan about her conditioning, and she even went to him a couple of times in reference to what to eat, what meals to eat, so that she can, um, energize her muscles or feed her muscles to continue to develop. I mean, of course, she's a female, so there was only so much muscle mass she could develop, but he really helped her to focus on her conditioning, and I think that really helped her tremendously going to Georgia Southern, where she
And prevent
played.
getting hurt.
Exactly. Good point. Keeps you
Simple
from
stuff
getting
like
hurt.
that. You better conditions, less likely you are to get hurt. The stronger, the less likely you are you getting injured.
Hmm. Good point.
That I didn't understand coming up. I did the
Really?
push-up- I did the push-ups and the sit-ups just because my dad said do them. But you know, and you
What
understand.
that leads me to this question. What as a collegiate athlete, what do you wish you could have changed going into college? What would you have done differently?
I know exactly what I would have done different. I wouldn't have done anything different going into college. While I was in college, like because everything I got in high school, I worked for and I developed it. I was not here. I was here and I worked and then got here. I mean, here being a Division 1 mid major player, not high majoring, just where I got. That's what I was. I now in college, I would have kept doing that. One of the biggest mistakes I ever made. My brother Milan, the coach at Pitt now, um, he was at Mount St. Mary's, and he said, "You want to come here for the summer?" I just got Rookie of the Year at Richmond, and I'm just thinking now. I'm not thinking later. I'm thinking I got it. He said, "You should come here for the summer and we work out up in Mount St. Mary's." I said, "No, I'm gonna stay here, go to summer school, have fun." Now I still had a good career. We still up ended up being 23 and what were we? 23-8. We first round winning NCAA's. I
Double
had
A's,
some
yeah.
big games. Right? Could have been way more. Should have been way more. Should have done it every summer. You're with your brother. He's gonna take care of you. That fear of missing out. That fear of missing out. It didn't wreck my life. It just didn't. I never got to see what I really. I saw it in high school. I saw like, wow, you scoring 30 and 40 points, 20 and a quarter. And they're like, why do you shoot from there? And I'm like, I'm genuinely like, because I'm open. But it's far, but I shot all summer from there. That's why I'm making it. And I know it would have translated at the college level, like better. Everything I did in college, I did based on my brother working me out in high school.
Wow.
Yep. So if
That's
I
good
could have
stuff.
done it in college again, so I regret that part.
Yeah, that's good. Good information. Good information. Well, last question I have for you, for parents. What would your advice be to parents to focus on, and what aspects of this would you encourage them to just sit back and enjoy, um, to help their student athlete get that scholarship? What could they do better to make this a successful opportunity for their students, for their children?
I say, well, it's different for because every person is different. I don't have just one way, but push them. You do have to push them because, again, they don't know what's best for their future. They just see now.
Stay involved.
Stay involved, but there's gonna come a point, and I had that with Makai this week where you just gotta take your hands off and let it. You did everything you could do. They're tired of you. You're tired of them, and go ahead. Trust your work. We tell the kids trust your work when they work out, right? Trust your work as a parent. Let them go ahead out there and do it their way, and you'd be surprised how many times they get it right.
Good.
That sometimes that's what they needed to get away from us. So, but yeah, stay on them. Watch their movements. Watch who they're around. Make sure their grades. Make sure their schoolwork. I'd say the biggest thing they could do is to go in parent portal once every 2 days. I mean, is that the? Yeah, yeah, I can't remember. Yeah, parent
That's
portal.
it. That's it.
And look, because there's going to say I didn't turn it in yet, or if you see that it's due, they said I could turn it in later, and it turns into a zero. That kills a lot of careers because once you get in ninth grade, all those grades count. You could have a great junior and senior year and still not get in because you had F's your freshman and sophomore year. So just stay on that part and stay on the academic side. Um, and just guide them. Everybody's kids. Nobody knows your kid better than you. So do what it is you do. Work the kid like you know they need to be worked, and leave them alone a little bit. Leave them alone a little.
Point. Good advice. Good advice. Thank you so much, Marseille, for your time. Really, really appreciate it. How can people follow you? What social media platforms are you on, and how can people follow you and reach out to you if they want to connect with you to train?
Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I'm not really on Twitter a whole lot, but my name Marseille Brown, Marseilles, Brown like the color. They can punch that in. I'll pop up. They can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
Thank you so much for your time.
Oh, YouTube.
That wraps up another episode of Recruiting from the Bleachers. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and I appreciate you tuning in. Be sure to join us next week for another insightful conversation. Stay connected with us on Instagram, Spotify, and YouTube at Recruiting from the Bleachers. Like, share, and follow to keep up with the latest updates. And don't hesitate to leave your comments and questions. We'd love to hear from you. For a deeper dive into the basketball recruiting process, check out our book, Basketball Recruiting, A Parent's Perspective, available now on Amazon.com. Parents, remember, from the bleachers to the big leagues to the boardroom, let's keep cheering and steering our student athletes towards success. We'll see you next time.